my dudes and the one girl who saw the word new and now she's trying to figure out how to one-up me. This is Bikes, Beards, and Brews. Let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this off, remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Let me know you're here. Throw, a comment down below. It's all right to just watch, creeper, but say hello to me. It's all good. Today we're going to talk about a few things. First on the docket, bam! What the hell is that? Well, let me show you what that is.
Alright guys, what we're doing today is actually fairly easy, so probably I won't be getting into too much crazy detail, but this right here is going to be getting replaced with this right here. That's right. The Death Eater is going on here. So to do this, we get a few simple things. First and foremost, we're gonna have to move this, so that was easy enough. So now we gotta get rid of that seat, so also easy enough. So then we have this bolt here, and then we'll come up, and we have one right in there, right there. I think I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. So those have to come off. Let's just throw them out of the way. Alright, so now that's gone. As you can see, there's definitely some dirt and stuff that builds up underneath, so we're going to clean that first. So bam, nice and clean. Alright, let's go put on the new center console. Hey, that was easy enough, right? Oh, check that out. Still fully functional. All right, let's get that seat back on. Bam, that was a snap, right? Yeah, check that out. So let's just go top to bottom. Got those new bars kicking. The Star Trek lens flare to make this more dramatic. Like I said, installation was a snap. All right, back to the road.
Oh, that was pretty cool, right? So yes, this is my new console. I don't know how well it's showing up on my GoPro right now, so I guess it's good that I did all those cool little cutaways, right? The next thing we are going to talk about is 3 years ago today. Well, date-wise, let's not split hairs. Today, for all you future YouTubers, is Small Business Saturday 2020. 3 years ago, I was out supporting a few of my friends' small businesses. There's a few in this whole town that I live in, and I was on my 2013 Dyna Wide Glide. I had my wife with me, and we were going home. It was a pretty nice day. Not too cold. Actually, probably not too different than what it is right now. It's about 50. Although, being that my wife was with me, it was probably 60 to convince her to leave the house in the cold. During that time and during that ride, I got into an accident. It was actually my first accident as a rider, quite honestly. I had been riding for over 10 years at that time, and what happened was a couple landscape trucks were pulling out of a side road. We're actually going there right now, so I can kind of show you. We're going back to the scene of the crime. And you know, I want to talk to you about what happened, what I did, how I made it through it, and hopefully maybe you guys can take a few tips and tricks with you in case you are ever in that same situation. So I came up to this stop right here. I took a right, kind of like what we're doing now. And I was riding up here, and not too far above. We're coming up to it shortly. I'll try and stop if there's a safe place to do it. A pair of landscaping trucks with trailers. Actually, right here, we're gonna pull over. It's perfect. So a couple landscaping trucks with trailers were coming out of this road over here, which has a stop sign. As they rode through, where this guy's kind of walking right here towards the right, this is newly paved. Before that, it was actually had a lot of loose gravel there. So the first truck came up to the stop sign, stopped, and then went through and took a left, going in the same direction that I'm going right now. The second truck with its trailer, it was like a 10 or 12 foot trailer, decided to roll right through the stop sign and just keep going. I was really close to the truck at that point in time. So what happened for me was, I knew what was happening, I saw it happening, I knew that I couldn't just lock up my brakes and be fine, and I didn't want to jump off the bike. I hear that a lot, like riders are like, I had no choice, I had to like abandon the bike. I don't agree with that, but that's not what today's video is about, so whatever. We'll get back to that another time. So what I did is I did everything as calmly and in control as possible, because I knew that you know, split seconds were what were going to make that, you know, a matter of severe injury, possibly death, or, you know, getting out of that unscathed or minimally scathed. So I popped my clutch, I had my foot on my brake, my hand on my brake, I was giving even pressure to both, and I started veering out to the right, so like towards the outside lane. My hope was at some point in time this truck would realize what he was doing or see what he was doing, and, you know, maybe try and do something to avoid hitting me. Instead, he continued to pull out, and he continued to take a very wide turn because he had that trailer. As he took that super wide turn, he kept driving me more and more into the shoulder, because my whole goal was to not hit that trailer and to minimize like impact and damage as much as possible. So I kept slowing down. I had the bike under control. I was leaning out to the right because I really, you know, at that point I didn't have a choice. And the whole goal was, again, not to hit that trailer and, you know, not to die. As I got more and more into the shoulder, and as I got much slower, finally some of the gravel kind of like came out from under my tires, and basically the bike slid out. Yeah, thanks for crossing lanes, stupid. That would have been great, talking to you guys about one accident getting into another because of a moron. Anyway, gravel finally let out under my tires, and my tires slid out from under me and the bike went down. So the truck and trailer didn't see me, they just kept driving. The only reason why I was able to get them later in court was because there was a car directly behind them who knew the landscaping company, because they were in unmarked trucks and trailers. It was just, you know, big trucks and trailers, nothing on them. And she witnessed the whole thing, so that made it quite useful. So my bike went down. When it went down, my wife was ejected from the bike. I kind of stayed on the bike. I didn't end up getting ejected, but I did clear myself of the bike when I came down. So I laid in that driveway where the gravel would have been for a little bit while some cars stopped to check on me. It hurt. I definitely wasn't getting up, I wasn't moving around, but I tried to stay in good spirits, because, well, I wasn't dead, and that's a pretty important thing in my book. So I just kind of laid there. At the time, I was definitely dressed in my most squiddish sort of outfit. I had a hoodie on. I think it was just like a Harley hoodie and a Dickies vest, kind of like this jacket that I'm wearing right now, and a pair of jeans, some shoes. Really nothing too crazy. Like I said, it was pretty warm out. There wasn't a reason for me to go super armored. I had my skull cap on, so, or, you know, as some of you may know it, a brain bucket, because really the only thing it's used for is to scoop up your brains after you get in an accident. And that's it. That's all I had on. So I made out pretty well in that accident. I laid there for a while. People called 911. The ambulance came. They took me to the hospital. I was in with a nurse for a little while. They were checking everything out. My injuries were my foot peg, I believe, broke and punched a hole in my calf. So I had my right leg. So I had some stitches and all kinds of stuff like that in my right leg. It was really just stitches. I sprained my foot on that side. I bruised my ribs on that side. I bruised my elbow on that side. I had a little bit of road rash on my arm, but nothing too crazy. I'll see if I can find some of the pictures, and I'll throw them right here. Those are from the hospital. I'm fairly certain I have them, so you just saw something. So I had all that. I actually got out of it fairly well. My wife got out of it completely unscathed. No bumps, bruises, cuts, a breakage, nothing. And I like to attribute everything that happened to like a very simple response that I had, which was I pay attention to what's in front of me. I see what's up there. I try to, you know, kind of get a grasp of what's happening. It's almost like playing a game of chess, because, you know, like checkers, you're just sitting there trying to figure out how to, like, make your next move and capture, you know, the next person or whatever. With chess, you got to think a few, like, moves ahead. So a lot of the stuff I did, like I do when I drive, is I try and think ahead. I try and plan ahead. I try and see, like, if there was a car right at that driveway, I would sit there and go, okay, if this car pulls out at this point, I'm going to do this. If this car does this instead, I'm going to do this. Like, I think a couple moves ahead and a few alternatives ahead. So that truck came out. It basically made it so I was screwed. And I knew that if I panicked, things would go horribly wrong. So instead of panicking, I kept it under control, and I did everything I could to bring the bike under control and to bring it so, again, I didn't die. And I feel like this is the most important lesson for a lot of people. And I know some new riders watch this video, or some people thinking about getting into riding are watching this video. And that's really the best advice I can offer you, is no matter the situation, no matter what's happening, no matter what is going wrong, you got to keep your wits about you. You got to stay calm, and you got to figure out what your next move is to rescue yourself and to get back on track to, you know, a good place. It's important. As soon as you lose control, as soon as you lose your calm and you get scared, that's when everything else is just going to crumble around you and bad things are going to happen. So, you know, like, take that with you. That is important advice. I don't think anyone's actually going to want to argue that, or if they do, their reasoning's kind of dumb. Let's just be honest. stay calm, stay cool, stay as in control as humanly possible. Find safe places to turn around when you accidentally took a right while you're talking on your motovlog. Yeah, it really is those seconds that matter. I mean, if I panicked, I probably would have plowed right into the back of that trailer, or the side of the trailer, or, you know, something like that, and my injuries would have been way worse. I didn't, so here I am, and I'm still riding. it's the way to go. So what happened afterwards? Well, a couple things happened afterwards. Naturally, I had to go get a lawyer and take care of all the, you know, injury stuff, and find the stupid landscaping company and all that crap. Unfortunately, it's not like TV in the movies. You don't instantly become like a millionaire because like of somebody else's negligence, even if it is a company with insurance. So for me, essentially what happened was they had to pay for all the repairs to bring my bike back to the way it was, and they did that. That's actually how I met the guys over at Boyd Cycles. I had called around to a couple different cycle shops looking for repairs. They were one of the first places that called me back, and the first questions out of their mouth were, how are you doing? Are you okay? How are you feeling? Now, these are people I've never met before, and they wanted to know more about me than the bike. And that for me kind of cemented, like, okay, this is the shop I'm going to, you know, for now and, you know, going forth with my bikes. So they repaired the bike, they brought it back, they actually made it better than it was. One of my older videos not too long ago, I'll put it there, where I was talking about the worst like dealer experience ever. That all happened around that time frame. So I had that bike, it was running like garbage, and I got into that accident, and when Boyd went to go fix my bike, that's when they found the fuel pack that was connected to the engine was kind of defective. It wasn't even working right. The spark plugs were completely burned out, which is pretty amazing, being that you know, matter of fact, that dealership, you know, not your dad's, but your claims that they do this like 5 billion point inspection to make sure your bike's okay. Like, yeah, they basically, they sold me a bike that was just running like garbage. And I kind of had a feeling that my bike was running like garbage, but at the same time, this was my first Harley, and I was, you know, there's always that part where you're like, well, it's a Harley, of course it's running like garbage. So yeah, you know, Boyd fixed all that. The company had to take care of my medical bills, which they did. I didn't get any crazy medical bills because I was still able to go to work. Like, I do IT and whatnot, and, you know, my hands are still functional, so I just kind of go to work and do my thing and come home. So they didn't have to pay for loss of time. They didn't have to do any of that stuff. They had to do medical on the bike. Then there was pain and suffering. Because I didn't go to a therapist, because I didn't go to like rehab, because I didn't try and milk the system. I was more interested in getting up and getting back to being who I was. I had a very small claim towards pain and suffering. So at the end of the day, after the medical bills, after the bike repairs, all that stuff, I came out of it with like maybe 2 or 3 grand. Yeah, so nothing you really retire on. But that's what happened to me. That's what happened with my accident. That's how I got out of that accident. And quite honestly, there's been many other times where I've almost gotten into accidents, and it's always stuff like people pulling out and not looking for you, people changing lanes, and you know, I've had people where I'm at their driver's side door. I can see, you know, what they're texting, and they just start steering into my lane. So it's not even like I'm in their blind spot, unless of course like you count the fact that I'm not 6 inches below their steering wheel. And I've almost had people steer into me. I've had people like almost back into me. And a lot of this stuff, a lot of how I get out of this, a lot of how I keep from dying, because really you're on a bike and that's a very real thing that can happen to you, is I try and stay calm, I try and stay collected, and I try to like sit there and go, okay, this is happening, how do I fix this right now? And you know, I do everything I can to keep from making things worse than they currently are, and that's what I do. So hopefully this helps some of you out there. You know, hopefully if you're new to riding, you're taking away something from this video that could help you one day. Hopefully if you're, you know, getting into riding, this is a consideration that you can make, because I don't think a lot of people really think about the very real fact that when you're riding, you can die. It's a lot bigger of a chance than, you know, if you're in a car or something surrounded by airbags. So, you know, do with that what you may. Another fun thing was when I was in the hospital, the nurse was sitting there, and like I said, most of the injuries were like the stitches were in like my leg, my sprain was in my ankle, I got a bruised elbow and a bruised ribs. That's basically from the impact of hitting the ground. Aside from that, I made it out pretty well. I did pretty well. I actually looked at my hoodie and my vest later, and my hoodie had a little hole in it and my vest had like some scuff marks on it. So I landed pretty well. So when I was sitting there all laid up in bed, the nurse was like, "Where's your riding jacket?" And I said, "It's over there." And I pointed to my hoodie and my vest. And she's like, "Where's your riding jacket?" And I'm like, "It's right there." And she's like, "That's what you wore?" And she's like trying to get all high and mighty. And I got annoyed. And I was like, no, please tell me what kind of jacket I could have owned and could have been wearing that would have prevented my ankle sprain and the hole in my leg. I'm here. I've got nowhere to be. I'm all ears. Let me know what riding jacket would have saved my leg. She looked at me very annoyed, and she was like, "We'll discharge you in a minute," and I turned and just stormed out. It was like hilarious. When I was in the ambulance, they were sitting there trying to put needles into my veins while hitting like potholes and making sharp turns, so we're just waving around. They finally got all that in, and they're taking my blood pressure, and they're like, "Oh, your blood pressure's pretty high. We got to look into that. That could be a problem." It's like, dude, I just got into a motorcycle accident. I was laying on cold ass ground for half an hour. And then I'm watching you guys trying to put a needle in my arm while we're like doing 60 to the hospital over potholes. Where should my blood pressure be right now? It was pretty amusing. Not amusing at the time, for sure. So yeah, that's about all I got for you guys today. I just wanted to share that with you on the anniversary. When you actually watch this, it'll no longer be the anniversary, but hey, next year, go ahead and pull this video up and watch it again, because, you know, as I say all the time, it's all about liking, sharing, you know, I don't know, ring that bell if you want to. Like, do cool stuff like that. Like, support the channel, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe. Like, if you're that little nerdy kid in like college trying to figure out how not to get beat up by jocks and stuff, tell them you'll do their homework in exchange for them watching this cool ass video. It'll work, trust me. And aside from that, guys, I will see you all on the flip side.